My name's Chase. I'm the social media manager for CertiK slash Spaces host slash AMA host, I guess. So I kind of hop in these randomly, depending on who is up to the task that day. So you're stuck with me today. So nice to meet you. Can you tell me a little bit about yourself and your role within the team?
Yeah, sure, Chase. My name's Matt, and I am I started with Router as the community manager. Um, and then the bear market hit, and so I've started to do partnerships and business development as well. So um, it's kind of spread. My role's kind of spread out, but my focus these days has just been more to partnerships and business development.
Awesome. Yeah, that's how I started out within the CertiK team as well as community manager. I feel like that's the like always the first role people landed and then they kind of work their way up. So
Yeah.
that's awesome to hear. And then can you tell me a little bit more about router protocol? Like kind of what went into the idea behind it, what you guys are doing today, just for anyone listening that isn't aware of what you guys are doing.
Okay. So just a quick overview of Router protocol.
Yeah, a
So
little
we
elevator
are
pitch, whatever you want to call it.
yeah, sure. We are a cross-chain messaging layer. Um, the vision has been simple. We want to enable cross-chain. The vision is really to enable like we envision this a block, the world of blockchain that is not siloed because of the nature of how blockchains are currently siloed. We envision one that is interconnected, like if you're familiar with Cosmos, kind of like the internet of blockchain.
IBC.
So IBC, yeah. So like basically, we want them interconnected, and so that's the vision behind Router and why we did this because the liquidity and the users, the developers, everything's fragmented across God knows how many blockchains now. I think we're looking at 200 plus. So the heart behind that was to build something cross chain, not just for like one bridge per se, but we were working on all levels, like on the contract level, on the dApp level, and now little leak. The next one will be on a chain level. So um, we are basically enabling things on every level to basically be able to communicate across different chains. The general consensus is that we would be able to enable cross-chain messaging, meaning that your contract on one chain could communicate with another contract on another chain.
Gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense. So like the way I see crypto now is it's kind of getting, I mean, it can get sort of tribal in a way to where everyone has their own chain that they think is superior and it's kind of us against everybody else. So is the way you guys picture it kind of like everyone can live in harmony essentially and there's no need for one to survive and the rest kind of die out, that they can all kind of live together? Is that how you picture it?
I mean, probably it's a bit idealistic to think that we would be able to live in harmony, but at least at least the users wouldn't face the issues of only being stuck on their chain or finding it just like finding it frustrating when they need to actually access other chains from whatever chain they are maxi on.
So then what are some benefits that Router offers to its users?
Okay, so for a user perspective, like for starters, we have our own cross-chain swap called Voyager. So this would be similar to multi-chain bridges. If you've used any bridge, it's very similar. The benefit is that security is our priority, and by that I mean we are working with a very low TVL. If you go to DeFi Llama to have a look at all the bridges or cross chain, we're like on the bottom if you because they sort it by total value locked on the protocol. But we also have like we have an explorer for our cross chain for our Voyager itself, which is our cross chain swap, and you can actually basically use it like a blockchain explorer. It shows all the cross chain swaps that have taken place on Voyager itself, and so as a user you can access and swap from any token to any token across 10 EVM chains. We used to do, I think, at least two or three more, like Harmony, Chronos, and Moonbeam that we shut down due to security reasons. Otherwise, most of the EVM chains we do support, like Ethereum, Polygon, ESC, Optimism, Arbitrum, Phantom, Avalanche, Aurora, Kava. That's pretty much. I think I'm at 9, but I'll get the other one in a bit. But yeah, you get the idea. And so that's what users get to do. You get to swap any token to any token, and yeah, without the risk of, I'm sure if CertiK has been big about audits and stuff. You know that the past year itself, the bulk of the hacks and exploits in DeFi have been from bridges.
Yeah, that always raises a eyebrow whenever someone brings up bridges now, because I know we do our yearly and monthly recaps and stuff, and for the yearly, I mean, the bridges just kind of stand out quite a bit on the for the dollar value and exploits like loss for the year, and that's always an extra worry in our eyes, at least when it comes to the cross chain stuff. So can you tell a little bit about what you guys are doing to kind of ensure that security for users? I know you have an audit with us, but like, is there anything else you guys are kind of keeping an eye on?
Yeah, so without getting too technical, straight up the front is our low liquidity. We actually function without much liquidity. If you notice the exploits that happen on other previous incidents on bridges and stuff, they were a honeypot and like a target for like hackers. We hold a TVL that's usually less than, and I mean this obviously fluctuates, but it's like 500K, somewhere within a few hundred Ks, and we have an Immunify bug bounty for like 200K. So it's kind of no-brainer. You would rather be the white hat than a hacker itself to kind of get the liquidity in the bridge. And that's not much anyway, even if you took it. So so it's like, is it worth the hack? So probably not. You've probably seen bigger hacks in 2022. So that's one. We operate with low liquidity. It's obviously it's not like some high security feature, but it's a
Yeah, no, that
no-brainer
makes
kind of common sense, right? Right? It's
yeah.
like a no-brainer, like it's like a common sense kind of thing. The other would be that probably be our contracts itself. How it's done, it's prioritized security first. We could have launched as quick as some of the bigger players in the cross-chain game, but we took our time because security was always the concern. We would actually deliberate really long before integrating a new chain, as we had to evaluate all the security and the risks involved. So that's another, I guess, another thing that we are pushing. Another thing that we pushed for security. So I mean, in terms of what we're doing more, it's these. I won't go too much into detail because that will be a bit too technical, I feel.
Gotcha. Yeah, that all makes sense. Um, yeah, when you said, we probably could have been out faster, but we wanted to make sure the security was there. That's always a good thing to hear from projects. And I know it can be a bit frustrating, especially in your guys' end. Like, hey, we would have been out before these guys, but hey, if they end up getting hacked or something, then you can sit back and say we did it the right way. So that's good to hear.
Yeah, it's pretty much our thought process.
Let's see. I got another question here. Can you tell us a little bit more about how the cross-chain asset swaps work?
Yeah, sure. So we so I've mentioned how we operate quite a high daily volume of transactions. Like, I didn't mention the number, but I think we were doing at one point in the millions. As of now, it's probably in the 100Ks. And our TVLs, our bridge liquidity has never been breaking the million. And so you're wondering how we do that. And we partner with the DEXs on the destination chain. So we basically build up the cross-chain architecture and we integrate with the chain, and we have what we call a pathfinder algorithm, which helps us find the most optimal route, which takes us typically through uh, the decentralized exchange, on the destination chain with the largest liquidity. That's how you get the best rates, right? So if that's not the most optimal route, a typical route would look like they would use the reserve liquidity on our bridge, which is usually in stable coins or the native gas token. So on Ethereum, it will be ETH. On Polygon, it will be Matic, and so on and so forth. We would also use route token or the defined token, which are also our reserve assets. So these are the reserve assets that would be they would basically, let's say you want to swap token, let's say you want to swap ApeCoin on Ethereum for Trader Joe on AVAX. So what would typically happen if this wouldn't go through the Pathfinder algorithm? Which partners with the DEX, if it didn't go through that route, basically what would happen is it would on Ethereum, what would happen is it would be swapped to one of the reserve assets I mentioned, like stable coin, or the native gas token, and then on the destination chain, that asset will be then swapped on, which is AVAX. We wanted to do AVAX, right? Avalanche, right? So we wanted to do Trader Joe, the Joe token on AVAX on Avalanche chain. So that reserve asset would then be used to buy the Joe token on the other chain. So it's through these routes typically for cross-chain asset swap to take place.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm going through I'm kind of checking out the Bridge Explorer page and looking at all this. And I was curious, do you guys have a certain way to choose which chains are going to be added, or is there a certain process to that? Is there kind of just whatever is gaining traction and users want? Is there any certain method to the madness there?
Still runs through the entire team, and especially our co-founders. So it runs through the dev team and the co-founders. So at the end, it has to be like a kind of a unanimous decision, at least among the heads. So it's something we deliberate, and it's not something that we take votes on and just decide to just integrate.
It's a very quick decision. Yeah, let's add it. Sure. And then
it's not some. Yeah, it is definitely not some pageant or some sort of democracy.
Yeah, okay. And then, real quick for anyone listening, don't forget you can ask questions in the Stage live chat channel for me to ask. And then I think those also go towards our rewards for the scavenger hunt. So, just for anyone listening, feel free to ask questions in the Stage live chat, and I will pass those forward to Matt. And then, let's see, what else do I got for you? Here's a question. Can you tell us a little bit more about the upcoming dedicated router chain? Sounds interesting.
Yeah, sure. Can tell you it's definitely happening next year, just like in a couple of days, right? But I mean, like the actual date when this is dropping is not confirmed yet. I would say, if you'd like more info on it, Masari did an article on this, so search for that on Twitter or Google itself, and somewhere in there, if you want more info about the router chain, it's there. What I can say is that it is definitely the protocol moving one step closer to with the heart of decentralization, really like prioritizing decentralization as we make this a reality.
Awesome. Yeah, it always seems like the idea of decentralization is kind of being pushed away and it's not seen as important as it maybe once was. So it's definitely good to hear, and kind of leads me to my next question. You don't feel like you have to answer this, but kind of just wanted to get your thoughts on it. So the significance of DeFi and why it matters, especially in this day and age, and maybe you can take this as where you see it going or the importance of it, and kind of maybe even the reason like why you're in this space per se, and what you see the benefit of it as, if that makes
I mean,
sense. The
yeah,
importance of DeFi and decentralization in general, and because that kind of leads into that question with you guys placing the importance on decentralization for the chain.
I, I feel DeFi is definitely significant as like a check and balance with the current traditional finance system that already exists. I think it keeps them in check. Um, in nature wise as well, it's pretty like a lot of it's adopted from traditional finance, but it's done in such a way that you have these new aspects of um, like being permissionless, um, terms thrown around like trustless, um, you know. So I think the whole heart and the ethos is really what Bitcoin started out with, and I think it's definitely significant because it delegates the power from one party down to everyone now. So now everyone literally has the right and the power, somewhat the power, um, in a certain system. And yeah, I think it matters because uh, it's a sign that there's growth in the world financial system. It's signs of growth, and anything that healthy grows. So it's actually really it's a good sign that it means that the financial system in the world is actually growing.
Yeah, I think it's good to, kind of opens people's eyes of the current problems, and it's like, all right, there are ways we can fix this. We don't just have to kind of go with it and kind of accept it. We can kind of put forward different ideas and, kind of go about our change in a way. Then we got a community question here for you. From David
Sure.
Johnson 1. He says, how to stay cool in the current situation in the cryptocurrency market? And can you tell us what are your guys' next major priorities for the upcoming 2023 year?
Um, so first question, how to stay cool?
Yeah,
Turn off the
that's for me too.
turn
I'm
off the
curious.
turn off the notifications.
Step away for a bit.
Man, yeah, I think you have to develop your own your own vision for why are you still bullish about things and why are you still interested in this, and remember, think back on what got you in the first place. Because if it's money, honestly, there are heaps of ways to make money, so this is not the only way. But back, what caused the drive for me, it was I have a weird compulsion of moving money around, like um, using like fintech and like traditional methods to um, remit cash, if that's a word for it. And by the way, I'm not a whale. I just happen to be in a situation
Open
where I have to
remark.
travel quite a bit. Yeah, and so I would say how I've been doing it is just sometimes I tune out of the news and go back to why I'm here in the first place and what's the vision, what is still keeping me um, hopeful and looking forward for new things. I really enjoy new developments and new projects. Um,
I agree with all that. I would just add, kind of the everyone says it, but not everyone listens to it, but only kind of invest what you can afford to lose, that whole kind of thing. So you're
yeah,
not constantly
sure.
worried, it's like it's a worry, but it's not something that's like overwhelming and it's all you think about. So that's definitely something to keep in mind as well.
Mhm, for sure. And you, I think David did ask, what's the plans for
Yeah, kind
2023,
of
right?
what are you guys' next major priorities for the new year?
Um, rather V2, which is the chain. So that's the major priority.
And then you said to learn more about that is will that be on you guys' Twitter? So, we can kind of push people there. That article with Masari.
Yeah. We actually tweeted about it. I mean, it's not. I don't think it's a pin tweet, but because the pin tweet would be the latest, which I believe could be our integration with Circle, I think. Like a partnership
Gotcha.
with Circle or something. Yeah. But if you search through our handle, if you just Google router protocol Masari, and it'll be there.
Perfect. So that's kind of you guys' like main focus going forward is kind of getting that squared away. Wish you could drop some alpha for us, but I understand.
It would be quite a game changer. I think, yeah, I wish we could drop more alpha, but a lot of things are still in the works. So, what if I say something and it doesn't, you don't see it, and then
Yeah,
you'll be
yeah,
like, hey, I
I
was at this AMA. Yeah. So,
yeah,
yeah.
I'd be on Twitter replying, well, Matt said that.
Yeah, and this is going on somewhere else that could be recorded. So,
I got you. I got you.
yeah.
And then let's see, we got another one here from Nalaka. Do you guys consider community feedback slash requests during the creation of your product? Many projects fail because the target audience and clients are not understood. So I'd like to know who your ideal consumer is for your product. So
Oh.
essentially, how important is community feedback? Do you guys take that into consideration? And who's the target audience, essentially?
Hmm. That's a great question, Anaka. Yes, we're quite a strong community, and we have, like, I think, a suggestion session or section, or we do we 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 did this weekly Route Thursdays thing, which is a community call, and you get to know someone from the team. You get to chat with myself and Miguel. Shout out to Miguel, who's heading up our Discord, and also our internal updates in the cross chain scene. Like, he comes up, like, aggregates all the cross chain news for us at the team. So shout out to you, Miguel. And yeah, we do consider that. Um, to say who our ideal consumer is would be a bit tricky, given the outset of the market condition right now. Much of retail has, it's not a, we probably lost a lot of retail investors. So I probably say even the bulk of the market is probably institutional, and um, the retail have been around for a long while. Um, so I would say, this is not me answering your question to say this is our ideal consumer, but I would say with the way we're building as of late and moving into V2 next year, it has been more from an ecosystem aspect, where we are really pushing this as an ecosystem and inviting builders to come build with us. So the focus has really been on um, helping projects become cross-chain with V1, with whatever we're using right now, which is Voyager, the cross-chain swap app, and also something I didn't mention earlier, which is the crosstalk contract libraries. So this is the one that allows one contract to message another contract on a different chain. And that's how we have cross-chain NFTs, all the cross-chain use cases. So all of this means to enable a dApp to go cross-chain. That's our the people we've been wanting to build with. We want to build with builders, and as the ecosystem moves ahead, we are looking to engage um, developers and partner projects to come on board to actually say that, we're partnering with Router Chain as an ecosystem as a whole. Yeah.
Yeah, we know how important the word partnerships is in this space, and it's thrown around very loosely, but it definitely carries a lot of weight, and people love to see, the commingling between different projects, working together and kind of sharing each other's communities and whatnot. So it's definitely a big part of this space, I think. And then let's see, we got another question here from Marina. It's during a bear cycle, a lot of the projects fail and sometimes just go into oblivion. How will your project stand the test of time, and what strategies do you guys have in place to possibly mitigate losses?
Right.
I don't know if that's really
It's
up to
yeah.
you, but I mean,
I
whatever
mean,
answer you give works.
I somewhat agree with that. The general consensus of most projects is they get hit so down and they can't come back up. How
Mhm.
will we stand the test of times? Let's just put it this way: that um we launched mainnet in January this year, and we've actually launched some farms early on last year too, in 2021. So we've been here for a while, and if you know anything since May 2021 until now, 2021 was the first time we've had quite a bit of a bear where um, uh, the Terra ecosystem itself already had its signs of shaking, and certain stablecoins were off peg in May 2021. So we've been through a few bear markets. We're still here building. Um, and interestingly enough, Router is not the team's only project. We have a sister decentralized exchange called DeFi, DFYN. And if you do a bit of research on how that has been doing and how we've been sitting through the times, you know that we've could have been out anytime with the kind of circumstances we've been through, but the team is still here and the team is still building. In fact, we're still building on both projects. So um, we're still standing and we're still building. There is no such. I mean, reading the question, you said like how will we stand the test of time? I guess we've proven we are still here, and
Yeah.
we'll still be here. In fact, the team has grown way bigger since when we started back then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
another
So
important aspect to that, I think, is, what kind of service you're providing. Are you just a one-off of one in a million gaming projects, or are you in a, area where you do provide kind of more of a unique service? And I think the cross chain is something that's very important, and it's easier to sell the value in that than it is a lot of, one-off games or whatever it be that's kind of one in a million doing the same thing. So I definitely think you're in a better position to kind of stand the test of time than a lot of other projects in the space. You provide more of a
yeah,
utility than most.
you're spot on, Chase. Basically, we because of how blockchain are siloed, now cross chain becomes it's not an optional thing anymore. It's becoming a necessity, and it is like a semi-essential, like almost fully essential service almost.
Gotcha. And then, quick question: do you guys have a token?
Do we have a token? Yes, we do. It's the route
Okay.
token.
There's a question about that. Can you explain the tokenomic distribution? I don't know if you have an answer to that, but that was one of the community questions that came in.
Yeah, we have the tokenomics distribution in the docs actually. We're way past the stage where we're still talking about like, okay, we're about to launch the token, and like we did this round and this round funding, and this much is going to end and vested over how many months cliff. It's all already allocated. I think if I'm not mistaken, it's 20 million, about 20 million, um, and that's the cap supply, I think.
Okay. And then I got another one. Are you also able to integrate NFT trading for multi-chain? Also, if yes, is there a revenue stream for that? So I don't know if that's something you guys have thought of or kind of have an answer for, but a way to, switch. I don't know how it would work. I don't know. Is
We
there?
are we're actually working with a few projects now to they want to do omni-chain NFTs, like omni-chain meaning NFTs that exist like are movable from one chain to another. So they don't just exist in a closed ecosystem, but rather you could actually bridge them across different chains.
Yeah, that'd be pretty interesting, actually. Um, is that something you guys are kind of just starting to work on, and it's kind of an idea right now, or something like maybe will be live next year?
It's so this has been live. I think by the middle of this year, before the bear market actually, it's been live, but I think the bear market really accelerated the building
Putting a
and
wrench
like
in everything.
yeah, it really accelerated the building and kind of pushed all of us to push for partnerships and to look out for projects that needed this, like were looking for this sort of a tech, but to kind of make their project a reality. Like there's so many projects now that want to do omni-chain related stuff, omni-chain NFT liquidity aggregators and stuff like that. So we think it's huge because gaming is huge and games are built mostly on NFTs, whether it's the 721s or the 1155s. And so what if your game on that particular chain goes down or something happens and you would want to have like a backup. You would want to have it launched on another chain as well, just for backup, right? And how would you do that without losing all that you've built on one chain? So if you can bridge it over, that would save a lot, and users wouldn't have to start from scratch and all that really. So we're just making a lot of projects dreams a reality.
Yeah, that makes sense. What comes to mind is kind of Solana, with the fallout from FTX and everything, and kind of the uncertainty
Oh,
around
dude.
it. I'm sure people would like to be able to not solely
Yeah.
rely on the Solana chain, be able to transfer that over, and
Mhm.
because being heavily relied on one single chain, it kind of brings a lot more risk involved because like there are things outside your control, and if something with a
Exactly.
chain that you can't do anything about goes wrong, and you're kind of just collateral damage, and there's not a lot you can do. So I can definitely see the benefit in that.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
And then let's see. Do you guys have governance for the tokens?
So route holders have voting rights, um, and we would do like snapshots as well. On the governance end, we would be, I believe it would be really on another level when V2 comes into play. Then you're talking about like nodes and validators and voting rights and stuff like that. So um, you really see the route tokens come into action with proposals and um, governance. Yeah.
Awesome. I'm about out of questions. I don't know if there's anything else you kind of want to share before we wrap up. Anything you guys are excited about? Show your socials where people can go learn more. Anything of that manner?
Yeah. So probably don't want to hard sell things if if you've heard about us being part of our router community, you can go to routerprotocol.com and there's our Twitter, there's our Discord. Join our Discord and yeah, just stay updated. You can meet Miguel, who I work with. Um, he's a huge cross-chain enthusiast as well. So um we're really a bunch of people who, I mean, the entire team, we're a bunch of people who are really builders and enthusiasts of the future of cross-chain. So I'd say we're really building something from a place where we know the need of it and we use it as well. So I just want to say thank you, Chase and Michael. Thanks for having us. Very very honored and privileged to just have a chat with CertiK. Like you guys are one of the OGs in security audits. Thanks for having us. I hope we could do another one when V2 is live or something like that. That way, that's the real alpha, I guess. Just in case people didn't know we dropped yet. For that. Yeah, but apart from that, if you're looking to start a project, and if you know any friends who are devs, and if you know projects that you are huge fans of, that you're heavily invested in, and you think that they could go cross chain, they need to go cross chain, do drop, drop our name there. We would really appreciate it because we want them to be part of the ecosystem as well, the router ecosystem next year. So that's the alpha, I guess. You getting your favorite project onto the ecosystem before anyone else does.
Awesome. Well, Matt, I appreciate your time, and I've definitely learned a lot, and I'm excited to kind of see what you guys do next. And we definitely will follow up and have another conversation once V2 goes live, and I'm excited to learn more about it. And then for everyone who had their questions answered, please DM Vladimir. Shoot him a DM and let him know that your question was asked and answered. And yeah, guys, be sure to give Router a follow and kind of keep up with them and see what they're building during this bear market for sure. I know I will. So again, thank you, Matt, for taking the time, and I appreciate it.
There's no worries. Thanks, guys.
By the way, I shared your leaderboard link on the Stage live chat channel where people can find all of your links, social media and website, etc.
Great. So thanks so much, Michael.
Check you out.
Awesome. And then, Matt, I will recommend Skynet for you guys. It's another way for users to kind of get more involved with the project, and, we can do a little bit more together at that point. So I'll just, hint at that. Maybe you guys want to look into Skynet. You can talk to your VD and see if that's of any interest to you guys.
Cool. Definitely. We'll have a look at that. And I'll see.
All right, guys. I appreciate it. And thank you, everyone, for joining.